नमस्कार गाइस, जैसे कि आप जानते हो कि हमारे 14 लेसन्स ऑलरेडी कंप्लीट हो चुके हैं पार्ट 1 में। अब ये है पार्ट 2। यहाँ से 15th लेसन स्टार्ट होगा और हम देखेंगे फॉरेस्ट के सुपरिटेंडेंट कैसे काम करते हैं, ज्वेलरी के सुपरिटेंडेंट, आर्मी के सुपरिटेंडेंट, स्टोर हाउसेस के सुपरिटेंडेंट और विलेजेस के सुपरिटेंडेंट और भी ज़्यादा सुपरिटेंडेंट्स कैसे काम करते थे उस समय मेमोरियन काल में। ये आज हम इस वीडियो में देखेंगे। तो स्टार्टिंग द चैप्टर 15, the superintendent of storehouse. The superintendent of storehouse, Koshthagraha, shall supervise the accounts of agriculture produce, Sita, taxes coming under Rashtra, country parts, commerce, Kariyamma, barter, Parivartana, begging for the grains, Paramatteka, grains borrowed from promise to repay Aparmittika, manufacture of rice oils, etc., Simhanika, accidental revenue, statement to check expenditure, and the recovery for the present. Appears. Whatever in the shape of the agriculture produce is bought in by the superintendent of agriculture of crowns of land is termed Sita. The taxes that are paid in the form of 1/6 of the produce is Shadbhaga. Provision paid by the people for the army, Sena Bhakta, taxes that are levied for religious purposes, Bali, taxes or subsidies that are paid by vassal kings and others, Kara, taxes that are specially collected on the occasion of the birth of the prince, Utsanga, taxes that are collected when there is some margin left for such collection, compensation levied in the shape of the grains for any damage done by the cattle to crop, presentation made to the king, and taxes that are levied on lands below tanks, lakes, and etc. built by the kings, Kurushteka. All these come under the Rashtra. Sale proceeds of grains purchased, and the collection of interest in kind of grains debt, Progita Yogdana, are termed commerce. Profitable exchange of grains for grains is termed barter. Grains collected by begging is termed pramityaka. Grains borrowed with promise to repay is termed as apamityaka. Pounding rice, etc., dividing pulses, etc., frying koros and beans, manufacture of beverages, suktakama, manufacture of flour by employing those person who lives upon such works, extracting oil by employing shepherds and oil makers, and manufacture of sugar from the juice of sugarcane are termed simhanika. Whatever is lost and forgotten by others and the like of the accidental revenue, anyajataka, investment, the relic of the wrecked undertaking, and savings from an unestimated outlay are the means to check expenditure. That amount or quality of compensation which is claimed by making the use of different balance or any error is taking a handful as termed vyaji. Collection of arrest is termed upasthana. Recovery of past arrest of grains, oils, sugar and salt, all that concerns grains will be treated of in connection with the duties of the superintendent of agriculture. Classified butter, oil, serum of flesh, and pitch or sap of plants etc. are termed as oil, sneha. Doctations, faneta, joggery, granted sugar, and sugar candy are termed as shara. Smidhara, that which is the produce of country of Sindhu. Samudra, that which is produce of seawater, Bida, Yakshara, Nitre, Sarvachala, that which is produced by Survachala country, and Udbhedaja, that which is extracted from the saline oil, are termed as Lavanna, salt. The honey of the bee as well as the juice extracted from the grapes are called Madhu or Madhumika. Mixture made by combining any one of the substances such as juice of sugarcane, jaggery, honey, the juices of grapes, the essence, fruits of jambu, Eugenia jamblona, and a jaka tree, with the essence of meshangaria, a kind of plant, and a long pepper, with or without the addition of the essence or chirbada, the kind of gourd, cucumber, sugarcane, mango fruits, and the fruit of myrobalan. A mixture being prepared so as to last for the 6 months or a year constitute to be the astringent Suktavarga. The fruits of those trees which bear acid fruits, those are Karmanda, those Vidalamaka, those Matulanga, and those Kola. Curds are acid prepared from grains and like the are acids in liquid form. Long pepper, black pepper, ginger, cumin seed, white mustard, coriander, choroka, damanka, muruvakka, sigru are like the with the roots come under the group of pigment substances. Dried fish, bulbous roots, fruits, and vegetables from the groups of edibles of the store, thus collected half shall be kept in reserve to ward off the calamities of the people, and only the other half should be used. Old collection shall be replaced by new supply. The superintendent shall also personally supervise the increase or determination diminution sustained in grains when they are pounded, shuna, or frayed, grishta, or reduced a flour, or fried or dried after soaking in water. The essential part, that which is the fit for the food, the kodvara or the vriha rice is one half, that of a sali of less than 1/8 part, and that of mosara less than the 1/3 part of the material origin, which is raw precocted. Raw flour of kulmasha boiled or fried rice will be as much as 1 1/2 of original quantity of grains. Barley gruel as well as its flour baked will be twice the original quantity. Kodrala, vraka, udraka will increase 3 times the original quantity when cooked. Vrihi will increase 4 times of the cooked. Oil extracted from asti licensed will be 1/6 of the quantity of the seed that extracted from the seeds. Nimba, Kashmara, Kapita will be 1/5 extracted from Tila, Kusumba, Madhuka, and Ingudi. 5 palas of Karpasa cotton and of Shoma will yield 1 pala of threads. Rice prepared in such a way that 5 drona or sali yield then adhakas of rice will be fit to the food of young elephants. 11 adhakas from 5 dronas for elephants of bad temper, then adhakas from some quantity of the elephants trained for riding. 1 prastha of rice pure and upslipped, 1/4 prastha of supa, 1/6 prastha of a sufa for a man. The same ratios should be followed. Measures of rations for elephants, horses will be described in connection with the duties of their respective superintendent. For bullocks, 1 drona of masha farfallus radiatus, or 1 drona of barley cooked with other things as prescribed. For horses is the requisite quantity of food, beside the special and additional provision of 1 tula of oil cakes and 10 adhakas of bran, twice the above quantity for buffaloes and camels. 1 prastha of cooked rice for dog. Bran and flour may be given to the slaves, laborers, and the cocks. Sweepers, preservers, those who weigh things, dharka, those who measure grains, etc. Those who supervise the work of measuring grains are mapaka. Grains are helped on the floor of jaggery. Shara is bound round in the grass rope. Muta. Oils are kept in the earthware of wooden vessels, and salt is helped up on the surface of the ground. Thus, end of chapter 15, Superintendent of Storehouse, and starting of chapter 16, Superintendent of Commerce. Superintendent of Commerce shall ascertain demand or absence the demand for and rights of or fall in the price of various kinds of merchandise which may be products either of land or of water, and which may have been brought in either by land or by water path. He shall also ascertain the time suitable for the distribution, centralization, purchase, and sale, The merchandise which is widely distributed shall be centralized and its price enhanced. When the enhanced rate becomes popular, another rare shall be declared. That merchandise of the king which is of local manufacture shall be centralized. Imported merchandise shall be distributed in several markets for sale. Both kinds of merchandise shall be favorable sold to the people. He shall avoid such large profits as will harm the people. There shall be no restriction on the time of a sale of those commodities for which the frequent demand is, nor shall they subject to the evils of centralization. Or peddlers may sell the merchandise of a king at the fixed price in many markets and pay necessary compensation proportional to the loss entailed upon it. The amount of wages due to the commodities sold by cubical measure is one-sixth of the quantity. That on commodities sold by weighing balance is 1/20th of the quantity. The superintendent shall show favor to those who import foreign merchandise. Mariners and merchants who import foreign merchandise shall be favored with remission of a trade taxes so that they may derive some profit. Foreigners importing merchandise shall be exempted from being sued for the debts unless they are local associations and partners. Those who sell the merchandise of the king shall invariably put their sale proceeds in the wooden box kept in the fixed place and provided with the signal aperture on the top. During the eighth part of the day, they shall submit on the superintendent the sale report, saying this much has been sold and that much remains. They shall also hand over the weight and measures. Such are the rule applicable to local traffic. As regards to the sale of king's merchandise is the foreign, having ascertained the value of a local produce as compared with foreign produce that can be obtained in barter. The superintendent will find out by calculation whether there is any margin left for profit, whatever meeting the payments to the foreign king, such as the toll, sulka, rodeses, conveyances, tax payable at military satisfactors, ferry charges, and the proportion of the merchandise payable to the foreign king. If no profit can be realized by selling the local produce in foreign countries, he has to consider whether any local produce can be profitably bartered for any foreign produce. Then he may send one quarter of his valuable merchandise through safe roads to different markets on land. In view of a large profits, he, the deputed merchant, may make friendship with the forest guards, boundary guards, and the officer in charge of the cities and the country parts of the foreign king. He shall take care of a secure his treasury and lifelong danger. If he cannot reach the intended market, he may shall merchandise at any market, free from all the dues, or he may take his merchandise to other countries through the rivers. He shall also gather information to convince change charges subsistent on the way. Value of a foreign merchandise that can be obtained in barter for local merchandise. Occasion of pilgrimage means that can be employed to the ward of dangers and the history of commercial towns. Having gathered information as a transaction in commercial towns along with the banks of rivers, he shall transport the merchandise to profitable markets and avoid unprofitable ones. Chapter 17. The Superintendent of Forest Produce. The Superintendent of Forest Produce shall collect timber and other products of forest by employing those who guard productive forest. He shall not only start productive works in forest but also fix adequate fines and compensation to be levied from those who cause any damage to the productive forest except in calamities. The following are forest products: Saka, Tinsa, Sirisa, Tasal Raja, Samvalka, Dhava are the trees of strong timbers. Ujja, Chimya, Chava, Bulaka form of group of bamboo. Vatra, Sakali, Nagalta form of a creepers. Malati, Sana, Gavadka, Lininia form of a group of fibrous roots. Tila, Tali, yield leaves. Pramanam, Patranam, Kimsuka are yield flowers. Bulbous roots and fruits are the groups of medicine. Kalakutta, Halahala, Mashingara, Musta, Daradoka, Utsharka are poisons. Likewise, snakes and worms kept in the pots are a group of the poisons. Skins are those of Godha, Serika, Dvipi, Simha, Yagaraha. Hasti, which is elephant, Simha, lion, Simsura, porpoise, Vyagharaha, tiger, Mahisha, buffalo, Cambros, Bosgrunaha, and Gavya, the Gayal. Bones, bill, snayu, teeth, horns, hoop, and tails are the above animals as well as other beasts, cattle, birds, and snakes. Kalasya, iron, Tambra, copper, Vritta, Kamsya, bronze, sisa, lead, trapu, tin, and mercury are the metals. Utensils are those made of a cane, bark, vidala, and clay, mritaka. Charcoal, bran, and ashes are the other things. Manerigar of beast and cattle are the breed of correction. Collection of firewood and fodder. The superintendent of forest produce shall carry on either inside or outside the capital city the manufacture of all kinds of articles which are necessary for life or the defense of the forts should be done. Thus, end of chapter 17, Superintendent of Forest Produce, and starting of chapter 18, the Superintendent of Armory. The superintendent of armory shall employ experienced workmen of tried ability to manufacture in a given time or and for the fixed wages wells, weapons, mail armors and other accessory instruments for use in battles, in the construction or defense of forts or in destroying the cities and stronghold of enemies. All these weapons and instruments shall be kept in places suitable prepared for them. They shall not only be frequently dusted and transferred from one place to another, but also be exposed to the sun. Such weapons as are likely to be affected by heat and vapor, ushmopasneha, and to be eaten by ovens shall be kept in safe localities. They shall also be examined now and then with reference to the class to which they belong and their forms, their characteristics, their size, their source, their value, and their quantity. Panchalika, Devadanda, Surkala, Masala, Upstanika, Spiritika, Chakra are movable machines. Prasa, Kunta, Hataka are the weapons with edges like plowshare, which is Halmukhoni. Bows made by Tala of Chapra, Sringa are respectively called Karmuka, Konda, Druna, and Dhanusha. Bow strings are made of Murva are called as Snayu. Venu, Sara, the edges of arrows shall be made of iron, bone, or wood as a cut, rend, or pierce. Nistrimaha, Ayashata are swords. The handles of swords are made of horn of rhinoceros and buffalo and tusk of the elephant, of wood and the root of a bamboo. Parasu Katuru are the razor-like weapons, and Lohojaka Patta Kavacha are the hoops and horns poisons, rhinoceros and rhinos skin. Likewise, Sirsatarana and Kunchuka, extending as far as hills, Patta, a coat without cover of arms, and Nagdorika, gloves are varieties of armors. Ornamentals for elements, chariots, and horses, as well as goats and hooks to be lead them the battlefields constitute accessory thing. Besides and above other such delusive and destructive contrivances as treated in the books 14. Together with many other new inventions of expert workmen shall also be kept in stock. Superintendent of armory shall precisely ascertain the demand and supply of weapons, their application, their wear and tear, as well as the decay and the loss. Chapter 19. The Superintendent of Weights and Measures. The Superintendent of Weights and Measures shall have the same manufactured. The 10 seed of mashas is equals to 1 surva masha. 16 mashas is equals to 1 swarna or shara. 4 shara is equals to 1 pala. 88 white mustard seeds is equals to silver masha. 16 silver masha is equals to 1 dharana. 20 grains of rice is equals to 1 dharana of a diamond. Ardha masha, half of masha, 1 masha, 2 masha, 4 masha, 8 masha, 1 swarna, 2 swarna, 4 swarnas, 8 swarnas, 10 swarnas, 20 swarnas, 30 swarnas, 40 swarnas, 100 swarnas are different units of weight. Similarly, series of weights shall also be made in the dharanas. Weight shall be made with iron or a stone available in the countries of Magadha, Mekala, or such things as will neither contract when weighted nor expand under the influence of heat. Begging with a lever of 6 angulas in length and of 1 pala in the weight of a metallic mass, there shall be 10 made different balances with levers successively increasing by 1 pala in the weight of their metallic masses and by the 8 angulas in their length. The scale pan shall be attached to each of them on one and both sides. Likewise, a balance called permani of twice as such metallic mass as that of a samvarta and 96 angulas in the length shall be made on its level. Marks such as 20, 50, 100 above its initial weight of 100 shall be carved. 20 tulas is 1 bhara, 20 dharanas is 1 pala, 100 such palas is 1 ayumani. Public balance, servants' balance, and Harriet balance successively decrease by 5 palas with Ayumani. Excepting flesh, metals, salts, and precious stones, on excess of 5 palas of all other commodities shall be given to the king when they are weighed in the first two named balance. Thus, weighing balance and weights are commented upon then. 200 palas is equals to 1 in the grains is equals to 1 drone and 1 public drone is equals to 187 of the grains of insha. Adhaka, Prastha and Kudamba are each 1 by 4th of the one previously mentioned. 16 dronas equals to 1 vari, 20 dronas equals to 1 kumbha and 20 kumbhas equals to 1 vraha. Cubic measure shall be made strong and dry wood that when filled with grains the cranical heaped up portion of the grains standing on the mouth of the measure is equal to the 1/4 of the quantity of the grains so measured, or the measure may also be made that the quantity of a equal part that heaped portion can be contained within the measure. The price of similar liquid measure is double the above. 20 panas is the price of a set of a counter weights and 6 to the power of 23 panas of a tula. Traders shall every day pay 1 kakani to the superintendent towards the charge of stamping the weights and measures. Those who trade in clarified butter shall give to purchasers 1/32nd part more the taptavatya compensation for decrease in the quantity of ghee owing to its liquid condition. Those who trade in oil shall give 1/64th part of a tatpavaji. While selling liquids, traders shall 1/50 part of more mint currents compensation for diminutions of quantity owing the overflow of the adhesion to the measuring can. Half, 1/4 and 1/8 part of the major kumbha shall also be manufactured. For 84 kudumbas or of clarified butter are held to the equal of a vrakka in the same. Thus, end of chapter 19, balance, weights and measures, and starting of chapter 20, measurement of space and time. The superintendent of lineal measure shall possess the knowledge of measuring space and time. 8 atoms is equals to 1 particle thrown of the wheel of chariot. 8 particle is equals to 1 laksha. 4 angulas are equals to 1 dhanurgraha, and 1 dhanurgraha is equals to 2 Vistita plus 1 Dharmanushti, 1 Kishku or 1 Kamsa. 42 angulas are part of 1 Kukshu. The same 108 angulas are equal to 1 Purusha. 10 dandas are equals to 1 Raju. 3 Rajus are equals to 1 Nirvattana, and 3 Rajus of 100 Dhanus is equals to 1 Gorutu, and 4 Gorutus are equal to Yojana. Such a day and night happen the months of Chaitra and Asvayuja. Then after the period of 6 months it increases or diminishes by the 3 Mushruta. When the length of shadow is 8 Pusurats, 96 angulats, it is 1/18th part of the day. One which is the 2 Pakshas of it. The sun carries off a hearty 1/60th of whole day every day, and thus makes one complete day in every 2 months Ritu. Likewise, the moon falls behind the 1/60th of whole day every day, and falls behind one day in every 2 months. Thus, in the middle of the every third year, the sun and the moon make one adhimsaha additional month, first in the summer season and second in the end of the 5 years. Chapter 21, the Superintendent of Tolls. The Superintendent of Tolls shall erect near the large gate of the city both the toll house and its flagging, facing either the north or the south. Those whose merchandise has not been stamped with seal marker and shall pay twice the amount of the toll. The merchandise being placed near the flag of the toll house, the merchant shall declare its quantity and price, carry out thrice. Who will purchase this quantity and merchandise for this amount of pace, and hand over the same to those who demand it for that price, and what purchasers happen to bid for it, and the enhanced amount of price together with the toll of merchandise shall be paid into the king's treasury. When under the fear of having to pay the heavy toll, the quantity of the prices of merchandise of tower, the excess shall be taken by the king, or the merchant shall be made of pay 8 times of the toll. Those merchants who pass beyond the flag of the toll house without paying the toll shall be fined 8 times the amount of the toll due from them. Those who pass by to and end from the city for shall ascertain whether or not toll has been paid on the merchandise going along the road, commodities intended for marriages, or take the bride from her parents' house or to her husband's anvayanam, are intended for presentation and taken for the purpose of social performance, comfitment, ceremony of tonsure, and any religious rites ceremony and other special ceremony should be let be off free of the toll. Those who utter a lie shall be punished as thieves. He who falsely swearing by cow dung smuggling merchandise shall be punished with highest amercement. When a person imports such forbidden article as weapons, shastra, male armor, metal, chariots, and precious stones, grains, and cattle, shall not only be punished as laid down everywhere elsewhere, but also be made to the forward of his merchandise. The officer of in charge of boundaries shall receive the panna and a quarter of radius on which load of merchandise. He shall levy a panna on a single hooped animal, half a panna on each head of a cattle, and a quarter of a minor cord pod. After carefully examining foreign commodities as to their superior or inferior quality and stamping them with his seals, he shall send the same to the superintendent of tolls. For hiding inferior commodities, 8 times the amount of toll shall be imposed, and for hiding or concealing superior commodities, there shall be wholly confiscated. Whatever causes harm or is useless to the country shall be shut out, and whatever is of immense good as well as seeds not easily available shall be let in free of toll. A regulation of tolls and dues. Merchandise external arriving from country parts, internal manufactured inside forts, and foreign imported from the foreign countries shall also be liable to the payment of a toll alike when exported and imported. Imported commodities shall pay 1/5 of their value as toll of flour, fruit, vegetable, roots, bulbous roots, and palieka, and dried fish and dried meat. The superintendent shall receive 1/6 as toll. As regards conch shell, diamonds, precious stones, and pearls, collars are necklaces. Experts acquainted with the time and cost and finish of the production of such articles shall fix the amount of toll. Of fibrous garments, cotton cloth, silk, mail armor, sulfate of arsenic, red arsenic, vermilion metals, and coloring ingredient of sandal, brown sandal, pigments, products yielded by wands and wood, and other products yielded by goat and sheep, he shall receive 1/10 and 1/15 as toll. Of clothes, quadrupeds and bipeds, threads and cottons, fibers and clay post, of grains, oil, sugar, salt, liquor, cooked rice, and like, he shall receive 1/20th and 1/25th as toll. When flower or fruits are purchased from flower or fruit gardens, a fine of 54 panas shall be imposed. When the vegetable roots and bulbous roots are purchased from vegetable gardens, a fine 51 panas shall be imposed. When any kind of grass or grain is purchased from field, a fine of 53 panas shall be imposed. Permanent fines of 1 pana and 1/2 panas shall be levied on the agriculture produce. Hence, in accordance with the custom of the countries of communities, and the rate of a toll shall be fixed on commodities either old or new, and the fine shall be fixed in proportion to the gravity of the offences. Chapter 23. Superintendent of Weaving. The superintendent of weaving shall employ qualified persons to manufacture threads, cost, cloth, and ropes. Widows, crippled women, and girls, mendicant or ascetic women compelled to work in default of paying finest, mothers of prostitute, old women, servants of the king, and prostitutes who have ceased to attend temples and service shall be employed to cut wool, fiber and cotton, ponical hems, and flax. Wages shall be fixed according to the threads spun, are fine, coarse, stula, or a middle quality in the proportion of a great or a less quantity manufactured, and in a consideration of a quantity of a thread spun. With who turns out a greater quantity shall be presented with oil and dried cakes of myrobalan fruits. They may also be made to work on holiday by payment of special rewards. The superintendent shall closely associate with the workmen those who manufacture fibrous clothes, raiments, silk clothes, wool and cotton fabric shall be rewarded by presentations such as scents, garland of flowers, and any other prizes of encouragement. Various kinds of garments, blankets, and certain shall be manufactured. Those who are acquainted with the work shall manufacture small amount. Those who women who do not stir of their house, and those who husbands are gone abroad, and those who are crippled or girls may, when obliged to work for a substance he provided with work, spinning out our thoughts and due subsistence, be provided with work spinning and due courtesy through the medium of maid servants. She who, having received wages, does not turn out to the work shall have her thumb out of. Those who misappropriate, steal, or run away with the raw materials supplied to them shall be similarly punished. The superintendent shall closely associated with those with manufacture ropes and mail armors, and shall carry on the manufacture of staffs and other commodities. He shall on the manufacture of the ropes from the threads and fibers, and the straps from and bamboo bark, which beast or drought are trained of theatered. Thus, end of chapter 23, the superintendent of weaving, and chapter 14:24, the superintendent of agriculture. Possessed of a knowledge of the science of agriculture, dealing with the plantation of bushes and trees, or assisted by those who are trained in such sciences, and the superintendent of agriculture shall in time collect the seeds of all kinds of grain, flowers and fruits, vegetable, bulbous roots and roots, Palikya, fiber producing plants and cottons. He shall employ slaves, laborers, and prisoners to sow the seeds, crown lands which have been often satisfactorily plowed. The work of the above men shall not suffer on account of any want in plows and other necessary instrument or of bullocks, nor shall there be any delay in procuring to them the assistant of blacksmith, carpenters, borers, and medaka, rope makers, as well as those who catch snakes and similar persons. Any loss due to the above persons shall be punished with a fine equal to the loss. The quantity of rain that falls in the country of Zingla is 16 dronas, shall half as much more in moist countries as to the countries which are fit for agriculture. Desavapanam, 13 dronas in the country of Asmakas. One third of the requisite quantity of rain falls both during the commencement and closing months of a rainy season, and two-thirds in the middle, and then the rainfall is very less. The forecast of such rainfall can be made by observing the position, motion, and pregnancy of the Jupiter, the rise and the set of a motion of Venus, and the natural or unnatural aspect of the Sun. From the Sun, the spouting of the seeds can be inferred. From the position of the Jupiter, the formation of grains, Stambhakarita, can be inferred, and from the movement of the Venus, rainfall can be inferred. Three are the clouds that continuously rain for 7 days. 80 are there for the poor many drops, and this is termed as rainfall, where rain free from wind and unmingled with outshine sunshine falls as to the render of for the plowing possible, there is a reaping of a good harvest in certain. Hence, according as the rainfall is more or less, the superintendent shall sow the seed which requires either more or less water. Sali, the kind of rice, vriha, rice, kudrava, varka, and the rainy season, mudga, masha, saibya, are in the middle of the season. Kusumba, Mausura, Guduma, Sarpa, mustard are be sown later. Or seeds may be sown according to the changes of the season. Fields that are left unsown owing to the inadvocacy of the hands may be brought under cultivation by employing those who cultivate for the half of the share of produce, and those who live by their own physical exertion may cultivate such fields in the one fourth or one fifth of the produce grain. Those who cultivate irrigating by manual labor shall pay one fifth of the produce as a water rate by carrying water on shoulders, one fourth of the produce by water in lifts, one third of the produce by raising water from rivers, lakes, and tanks and wells. One third or one fourth of the produce. The superintendent shall grow mate crops, winter crops, summer crops according to supply of workmen and water. Lands that are beaten by foam, banks of rivers, etc., are suitable for growing Valipala, pumpkin, gourd, and likewise. Such medicinal herbs like Bereka, Hira, cactus rot, Korpadi, fragrant flavors, medicinal herbs grow in marshy grounds are grown not only in the ground suitable for them but also in the pots. Seeds of grains are to be exposed to the mists and the heat for the 7 nights. In the shade of a kosi are treated similarly for the 3 nights. The seed of a sugarcane and the like are plastered at the cut and end with the mixture of honey, clustered butter, and fat of the hogs and cow dung. Always while sowing seed, a handful of seeds bathed in water with the piece of gold shall be sowed. First and then following mantras recited Prajapate Kashapaya Dvaya Namaha Sadasita Medhatyam Devi Bijeshu Cha Dhenushva Cha Chandravatahe. Salvation of God Prajapati Kashyapa. Agriculture may always flourish and goddess may reside in seeds and wealth. Provision shall be supplied to watchmen, slaves, and laborers in proportion to the amount of work done by them. They shall be paid a panna and a quarter of a mensam. Artisans shall be provided with wages and provisions in proportion to the amount of work done by them. Those that are learned in Vedas and those that are engaged in making penitence may take from the field ripe flowers and fruits that they can get from it. Grains and other crops shall be collected as often as they are harvested. No wise man shall leave anything in the field, nor even calf. Crops, even reaped, shall be heaped by in the high piles in the form of turrets. The piles of crops shall not be the kept close, nor shall their tops be small or low. The threshing floor of different fields shall be situated close to each other. Workmen in the field shall always have water but no fire. Thus, end of chapter 25, 24, and starting of chapter 25, Superintendent of Liquor, which is alcohol. By employing such a man as acquainted with the manufacture of liquor and ferment quinoa, the superintendent of liquor shall carry the liquor traffic not only in force on the country parts but also in camps in accordance with the requirement of a demand and supply. He may either centralize or decentralize the sale of the liquor. A fine of 600 panas shall be imposed on all offenders other than those who are manufacturers, purchasers, or sellers in the liquor traffic. Liquor shall not be taken out of village, nor shall liquor shops be close to each other, lest workmen spoil the work in the hand and areas violate their decency and virtuous character, lest firebrands commit indiscreet act. Liquor shall be sold to persons of well-known character in such small quantities as one fourth and half of kudumba and one kudumba, half of the prasta and one prasta. Those who are well known and pure character may take the liquor out of shop, or all may be compelled to drink liquor within the shops and may not allowed to stir out of once in view of detecting agricultural articles such as sealated deposits, unsealed deposit, commodities given to repair stolen articles, and like the customers may have acquired by foul means. Likewise, those who are extravagant to spend beyond their income shall be arrested. No fresh liquor other than bad liquor shall be sold below its price. Bad liquor may sold elsewhere or given to slaves and workmen in the lieu or wages, or it may form of drink for the beast for draught and subsistence of the hogs. Spies stationed in the shop shall ascertain whether the expenditure incurred by customers in the shop is ordinary or extraordinary, and also whether there are any strangers. They shall also ascertain the value of dress, ornament, and gold of the customers lying there under intoxication. When customers under intoxication lose any of their things, the merchant of shop shall not only make a good of the loss but also pay an equivalent fine. Merchants seated in half closed rooms shall observe the appearance of local and foreign customers who, in real or false guise of arias, lie down in intoxication along with their beautiful mistresses. Medaka is manufactured with 1 drona water, half an adaka, and the rice of 3 pastaka of quinoa ferment. Of various kind of liquors such as Medaka, Prasanna, Aswara, Arista, Meriya, Madhu. A preparation of various kind of arista for various diseases are to be learnt by physician. Sour gore and decoctions and bark of mishiranga mixed with jaggery, gouda, and with powder of long pepper and black pepper, and or with a powder of triphala, turmeric, and Myria. To all kinds of liquor mixed with jaggery, the powder of triphala is always added. The juice of grapes is termed as madhu. Its own native place is the commentary on such of the various forms of kapisanna and hurukka, 1 drona of either boiled or unboiled paste of masha, the 3 parts of more or rice, 1 kasha of morata, and then like form of quinoa. Liquor that is manufactured from mango fruits may contain the greater proportion of the mango essence or of spices. It is called mahasura. When it contains sambhara, when a handful, so much as the antarokwa mishti in the hand, the fingers being so bent that the nails cannot be seen, so the powder of granulated sugars dissolved in decoction of marota, palasa, daruta, and mishranga, and the patha, syrups rotunda, amoxe indiva, satapa, statarpana, and it renders it very pleasant. 5 palas of fanata are added to be above in order to increase its flavor. On special occasions, people, Kutumbinaha families shall be allowed to manufacture white liquor, arista, for use in diseases and other kind of liquors. On the occasion of a festival, fairs, and pilgrimage, right to manufacture of the liquor for 4 days shall be allowed. The superintendent shall collect the daily fines from those who on these occasions are permitted to manufacture liquor. Women and children shall collect sura and quinoa ferment. Those who deal with liquor other than that of a king shall pay 5% as toll. With regard to Sura, Medika, Arista, wine, Phalamala, acid drinks prepared from fruits, and Amala Siddhu, having ascertained the day's sale of the above kind of liquors, the difference of lawyer, royal, and public measures, Manyavyaji, and excessive amount of sale proceeds realized, thereby the superintendent shall fix the amount of compensation due to the king from the local of a foreign merchants from entrailing laws of the king's liquor traffic and shall always be adopted the best course. Thus, end of the chapter 25, the superintendent of liquor, and the starting of the chapter next, duties of superintendent, which is the chapter 26, the superintendent of slaughterhouse. When a person entraps, kills, or molests deer, bison, birds, fish, which are declared to be under the state of protection, so or which live on forest under state protection, he shall be punished with the highest amercement. Householders trespassing in forest preserve shall be punished with the middlemost amercement. When a person entraps, kills, or molests either fish or birds that do not prey upon other animals, he shall be fined 26 panas. And when he does the same to the deer and the beast, he shall be fined twice as much. Of the beast of the prey that have been captured, the superintendent shall take 1/6 of fish and birds of similar nature. He shall take 1/10 or more than 1/10 of a deer and other beast, mrigapasu, 1/10 and more than 1/10 of the toll. 1/6 of live animal such as birds and beasts shall be let off in forest and under the state protection. Elephant, horses or animal having the form of man, bull or any asses living in ocean, as well as fish in tanks, lakes, canals or rivers, some of the game birds in the Krunucha, a kind of heroine, and Utstruka, Hamsa, peacock, parrot and mince, as well as other auspicious animals, whether birds or the beast, shall be protected from all kinds of molestation. Those who violate the above rule shall be punished with the first amusement, and shall be fresh and boneless flesh of breast, mrigapasu, just killed. If they sell bony flesh, they shall give an equivalent compensation. If there is any diminution of in weight owing to the use of the false balance, they shall give 8 times the diminutions. Cattle such as calf and bull and a milch cow shall not be slaughtered. He who slaughters the tortures them to the death and shall be fined 50 panas. The flesh of animals shall have been given killed outside the slaughterhouse, and headless, legless, and boneless flesh, rotten flesh, and the flesh of animal which have suddenly died shall not be sold. Otherwise, the fine of 12 panas shall be imposed. Cattle, wild beasts, elephants, and the fish living in the forest under the state protection shall, if they become the vicious nature, be entramped and killed outside the forest. Thus, end of chapter 26, the superintendent of slaughterhouse, and starting of chapter 27, the superintendent of prostitutes. The superintendent of prostitutes shall employ at King's Court on the salary of 100,000 panas per annum. A prostitute Ganika, whether born or not born to the prostitute family, and noted for her beauty, youth, and accomplishment. A rival prostitute on half of above salary shall be also be appointed. Whenever such a prostitute goes abroad or dies, her daughter or her sister shall be act for her and receive her property and salary, or her mother may substitute another prostitute. In the absence of any of these, the king shall himself shall take the property, with a view to add the splendor of prostitute holding the royal umbrella, golden pitcher, and a fan, attending upon the king seated on his royal litter, throne, and chariot. Prostitutes shall be classified as the first, middle, and highest rank according to their beauty, splendid jewelry. Likewise, their salary shall be fixed by thousands. She who has lost her beauty shall be appointed as a nurse. A prostitute shall pay 24,000 panas in a ransom to regain her liberty, and prostitute's son 12,000 panas. From the age of the 8 years, a prostitute shall hold musical performance before the king. Those prostitutes, female slaves, and old women who are incapable of rendering any service in the form of enjoyment shall work in the storehouse or kitchen of the king. A prostitute who, putting herself under the protection of the private person, cease to attend the king's court shall pay a panna and a quarter of a permissum to the government. The superintendent shall determine the earnings, inheritance, income, expenditure, future earning, and every prostitute. He shall also check the extravagant expenditure. If he sells or mortgages her property, she shall be fined 50 panas. A prostitute shall be fined 24 panas for defamation, twice as much for causing hurt, and 50 panas as well as one half panas for cutting off the ear of any person. When a man has connection with a prostitute against her will or with a prostitute girl Kumari, he shall be punished with a higher amercement. But when he has connection with the willing prostitute, he shall be punished with the first amercement. When a man keeps under confinement and abduct a prostitute against her will and disfigure her by causing hurt, he shall be fined 1,000 panas or more, rising up to the twice of the amount of her ransom, according to the circumstances of crime and the position and the status of the prostitute. When a man causes hurt to the prostitute mother, to her young daughter, and to a Rup Dasi, he shall be punished with the highest amercement. When a prostitute does not yield her person to anyone under the order of the king, she shall receive 1,000 lashes with the whip or pay a fine of 5,000 panas. When in her own house a prostitute deprives her paramour of his enjoyment, she shall be fined 8 times the amount of fees, unless the paramour happens to be associable to on account of disease and personal defects. When a prostitute murders her paramour, she shall be burnt alive or thrown into water. Every prostitute shall supply information to the superintendent as to the amount of her daily fees, her future income, and her paramour. The same rules shall be applied to the actor, dancer, singer, player of the musical instrument, a baffon, a mimic player, rope dancer, a juggler, and a wandering bard, and a herald, pimps, and unchaste women. When a person above description came from foreign countries to hold their performance, they shall pay 5 panas as license fees. Every prostitute shall pay every month twice the amount of these earnings to the government. Those who teach prostitute, female slaves, and actress arts such as singing, playing, and musical instrument, reading, dancing, acting, writing, painting, playing on the instrument like veena, pipe, drum, reading to the thoughts of others, manufacture the scents and garlands, shampooing, and the art of attracting and captivating the minds of others shall be endowed with maintenance from the state. The teacher, shall train the sons of prostitute to be chief actors on the stage. The wives of actors and other similar professions who have been taught various languages and use signals shall along with their relatives be made to use of detecting the wicked and murdering the deluging foreign spies. Thus, end of chapter 27, the superintendent of prostitute, and starting of chapter 28, the superintendent of ships. The superintendent of ships shall examine the account of relating to navigation not only on oceans and mouths of rivers, but also on lakes, natural or artificial, and rivers in the vicinity of Sthaniya and other fortified cities, villages on seashores and on the banks of rivers and the lakes shall pay a fixed amount of tax. Fishermen shall give 1/6 of their full as fees for fishing license. Merchants shall pay the customary toll levied in port towns. Passenger arriving on board the king's ship shall pay the requisite amount of sailing fees. Those who make use of king's court in fishing out conch shells and pearls shall pay the requisite amount of a hire, or they make use of their own boats. The duties of the superintendent of mines will explain those of the superintendent of council shields and pearls. Superintendent of ships shall strictly observe the customs and prevalent in commercial towns as well as in order to the superintendent of towns. Whenever a weather-beaten ship arrives to the port town, he shall show fatherly kindness to it. Ships that touch at harbors on their way may be requested to payment of toll. In those large rivers which cannot be forded even during the winter and the summer season, there shall be launched large boats, Mahanavaha, provided with a captain, a steersman, and a servant to hold of a vehicle and a ropes and a pour out of towns. Small boats shall be launched in a small rivers and overflow during the rainy seasons. When a person fords or crosses a river outside the proper place in unusual times, he should be punished with the first amercement. Fishermen carried carriers of firewood, grass, flowers, and fruits, gardeners, vegetable dealers, and herdsmen, persons pursuing suspected criminal, messenger following other messenger going in advance, and servants engaged to every carrying things, provision, and orders to the army, those who use their own ferries, as well as those who supply villages of marshy district with seed necessary of lives, commodities, and other accessory things shall be exempted to cross rivers at any time and place. Brahmans, ascetics, pravarajita children, the aged, afflicted, royal messenger, and the pregnant women shall be provided by the superintendent with free passes or to cross rivers. Foreign merchants who often have been visited the country, as well as those who are well known to local merchants, shall be allowed to land in the port's town. Many person who is the woman's abducting wife and daughter of another, one who is carrying off the wealth of another, a suspected person, the one who seems to be profound, perturbed appearance, the one who has no baggage, the one who attempts to conceal or evacuate a cognizant valuable load in one's hand, one who has turned out an aesthetic or carrying weapons or explosive, Agni Yoga, one who holds poison in one hand and one who owns come from long distance without pass shall be arrested. The head load carried of shoulders, a cow, a horse shall be each pay 2 mashes. In boundaries, ferrymen shall receive the toll carriages seas and road seas. They shall also confiscate the property of the person traveling without the pass. The superintendent of boats shall make good or loss caused by the loss and the boat due to the heavy road. Sailing in improper caused by loss and the boat due to the heavy load, sailing in improper time and or place, want of ferrymen and lack of repair. Boats should be launched between the months of Ashadha and first 7 days being omitted, and Kartika, the evidence of the ferryman should be given and the daily income should be remitted. Thus, end of chapter 28, the superintendent of ships, and starting of chapter 29, the superintendent of cows. The superintendent of cows shall supervise herds maintained for wages, herds surrendered for the fixed amount of dairy produce, useless and abandoned herds, herds maintained for a share in dairy produce, classes of herds, cattle that strayed, cattle that are irrecoverable lost, and the massed quantity of milk and clarified butter. 1. When a cow herd of a buffalo herdsman, a milk a churner, and a hunter fed by wages graze milch cows and 100 satam, for if they graze the herd for the profit of a milk and a ghee, they will starve the cows to death. that the system of rearing the cattle is termed herd maintained the wages. Second, when a single person rears of 100 heads rupasatam made up of an equal number of each of aged cows, milch cows, and pregnant cows, hearer calves, and gives to the owner 8 varaks, a clarified butter per annum, as well as branded skin. That system is called herd surrendered, or for the fixed amount of dairy produce. Third, when under the fear of a cattle lifting enemies, cattle are kept under the care of the superintendent, giving him 1/10 of the dairy produce for his protection. It is termed herd maintained for share in dairy produce. Fourth, when an animal is carried off by thieves or finds itself into the herds of others or strays unknown, it is called as lost. Cow herds shall endeavor to keep them away from such dangers. Whoever hurts or cause another to hurt, or steals or cause another to steal a cow, should be slain. A person recovers a local cattle from thieves, he shall receive the promised reward. And when a man rescues a foreign cattle, he shall receive half its value. They shall graze the herds in forest, which are severally allotted as pasture grounds for various seasons, and from which thieves, tigers, and other molesting beasts are driven away by the hunter, aided by their hounds. Whenever an animal is caught hold by the thief, tiger, a snake, or a crocodile, when it is too infirm owing to the age or disease, they shall make a report of it. Otherwise, they shall be compelled to make good of the loss. They, the cowshed, may sell either fresh flesh or dried flesh. He who sells his cow shall pay to the king 1/4 rupa value of the cow. One drona of the cow in the same rule which is in all kinds of milk. The exact quantity of butter shall be ascertained by churning. For increase in the supply of milk and the butter depends on the nature of the soil and the quantity of the quality of food and the water. When a person causes a bull attached to a herd to fight with another bull, he shall be punished with the first amusement. When a bull is injured, he shall be punished the highest amusement. According to protective strength of the cow herds, the capacity of a cattle to go far and wide graze, cow herds shall take their cattle either far or near. The same rules shall be applied to the herds of horses, ass, camels, and hogs. For bulls, which are provided the nose rings, and which equal horses and in speed and in carrying loads, half in bhara, meadow grass, and twice the above quantity of ordinary glass, 1 tula of oil cakes, and 10 dhakas of bran, 5 palas of salt, and 1 kudumba of oil for rubbing over the nose. The same commodities less by 1/4 each will form the diet of mules, cows, and asses. Twice the quantity of above things will be buffaloes and camels. Drought oxen and cows supplying milk shall be provided with subsistence in proportion to the duration of times the oxen are kept at work and the quantity of milk which the cows supply. All cattle shall be supplied with abundance of the fodder and water. Thus, the manner of rearing herds of cattle has been dealt with. A herd of 100 heads of asses and mules shall contain 5 male animal, that of goats and sheep 10, and a herd of 10 heads of either cows or buffalo shall contain 4 male animal. Thus, end of chapter 29. Chapter 30. The Superintendent of Horses. The Superintendent of Horses shall register the breed, age, color, marks, group or classes, and the native place of horses, and classify as first those that are kept in cell house for sale, second those that are recently purchased, third those that have been captured in wars, fourth those that are local breed, fifth those that are sent thither for help, sixth those that are mortgaged. 7th, those that are temporarily kept in stables. He shall make a report to the king of such animals as are auspicious, crippled, and diseased. Every horseman shall know how to make an economic use of whatever he has received from the king's treasury and storehouse. The superintendent shall have a stable constructed as spacious as required by the number of horses to be kept, wherein twice as broad as the king of the horse, with 4 doors facing the 4 quarters, with its central floor suited for the rolling of horses, with projected front provided with wooden seats in the entrance, and maintaining monkeys, peacocks, red spotted deer, mangoes, partridge, chakora, parrots, and myna birds. The room for every horse shall be 4 times as broad and as long as the length of the horse, with its central floor paved with smoothed wooden planks and with separate compartments for the floaters, with passages for the removal of a urine and dung, and with a door facing either the north or the east. The distinction of quarters may be made as matter of fact or relatively to the situations of the buildings. A colt 10 days old should be given a kudumba, a floor mixed with 1/4 kudumba and clarified butter and 1 prust of milk till it becomes 6 months old. Then the above rations shall be increased half as much during each succeeding month. The face of the best horse measures 32 angulas in the length, 5 times its face. Its shank is 20 angulas at the height, 4 times of the shank. Horses of medium and lower sizes shall short above the measurement by 2 and 3 angulars respectively. For the best horses the diet shall be 2 dronas of any grains, rice and purely panic seed, 1 prasta of oil for giving enema, 1 kudamba of oil for rubbing over the nose. The draught horse or stallion of the medium size shall be given the same quantity as the best horse, and similar horses of lower size shall receive the same quantity of horse of medium size. The breed of Kambuja, Sindhu, Aratta, Vanayu countries are the best. Those Bhalika, Papayu, Soviria, Taitala are the middle quality and the rest are ordinary. The regular training of the horse is its preparation for war. Circular movement, slow movement, jumping, gallow, response to signals are the several forms of riding. These are performed in 16 ways: Prakarnika, Prakrinotra, Nishana, Prastavanika, Urmi Marg, Sarabhaktidrita, Sarabhupluta, Tirtala, Bhayunavita, Panchpani, Samhayata, Swadhuta, Klishta, Slaghita, Brihmata, Pashupabhilika. Jumping like monkey, jumping like frog, sudden jump, jumping like one leg, leaping the cuckoo, dashing with its breast almost touching the ground, and leaping like a crane are the several forms of jumping. Movement following a signal is termed as Narushota. 6, 9, and 12 yojnas a day are the distance to be traversed by the horse. Qualified teacher shall give instruction as to manufacture of proper ropes with which to gather the horses. Veterinary surgeon shall apply requisite remedies against the endured growth of diminution in the body of horses, and also change the diet of horses according to the seasons in change. When owing to the defect in medicine or carelessness in treatment, the disease from which a horse is suffering become intense, a fine of twice the cost of treatment shall be imposed, and when owing the defect in medicine or not administrating it, the result become quite the reverse. A fine equal to the value of animal shall be imposed. The same rule shall apply to the treatment of cows, buffaloes, goats, and sheep. Horses shall be washed, bedaubed with a sandal powder, and garlanded twice a day. On new moon days, sacrifice of bhutas, and on full moon days, chanting auspicious hymns shall be performed, not only on the ninth day, and but also the commencement of the closed journey, as well as time deceased shall priest a wave light invoking blessings on the horses. Thus, end of chapter 13. The superintendent of horses, and starting of chapter 31, the superintendent of elephants. The superintendent of elephants shall take proper steps to produce elephants forest and survive the operations with regard to the standing or lying in stables of elephant, male and female or young, when they are tired after training, and examine the proportion, quality of ration and grasp the extent of training given to them, their accoutrement and ornament, as well as the work of elephant doctors or of trainers of elephant in warlike feats and of grooms, such as drivers, binders, and others. There shall be constructed an elephant stable twice as broad as twice as high as the length of an elephant, with separate apartment for female elephants, with projected entrance, with post called Kumari, and with its door facing either the east or the north. The space in front of the smooth post to which elephants are tied shall form a square, one side of which is equal to the length of an elephant, and shall be paved with the smooth wooden planks and provided with a holes for a removal of urine and dung. The space where an elephant lies down shall be as broad as the length of an elephant, and provided with a platform raised to half of the height of an elephant for leaning on. The first and the seventh of the eighth division of the day are the two bathing times of elephant. The summer is the season to capture elephants. That which is 20 years old should be captured. Young elephants, bika; infatuated elephants, mugdha; elephants without rusk; deceased elephants, elephant with suckle their young ones, and female elephants shall not be captured. That which is 7 atranis in height, 9 aratnis in length, 10 aratnis in circumference, and is can be inferred for such measurement 40 years old is the best. That which is 30 years old is middle class, and that which is the years of 20 is lowest class. The diet for the last two classes shall be listened by one quarter according to the class. The elephant in root and 8 ratnas in height shall have equal ratios with the 7 ratnas in height. The young elephant captured for the mere purpose of sporting with it shall be fed with the milk and meadow grass, suitably to the reasons as well as to their physical splendor. Elephants of sharp or slow sense, Bhadra and Mandra, as well as elephants possessed of characteristics of other beasts, shall be trained and taught suitable work. Thus, end of chapter 31, the superintendent of elephants, and chapter 32, training of elephant. Elephants are classified into four kinds in accordance with the training they are given. That which is tameable, damya; that which is trained for war, snahaya; that which is trained for riding, and rogue elephants. Those which are tameable fall under five groups: that which suffers a man to sit on its weather, that which allows itself to be tethered to the post, that which can be taken to water, that which lies in pits, that which is attached to its herd. All these elephants shall be treated with as much care as young elephant. Military training is of seven kinds: drill, advancing, trampling down and killing, turning, fighting with other elephants, assailing, fort and sighting, and warfare, binding the elephant with grits, putting on collar, and making them work in company with their herd are the first steps. Upavichara of the above training. Elephants trained for riding fall under 7 groups. That which suffers a man to mount over it when in the company with another elephant. That which suffers riding when led a warlike elephant. That which is taught trotting, drona. That which is taught various kinds of movement, adhanagadika. That which can be made to move by using a staff, yashtuyupaha. That which can be made to move by using an iron hook. That which can be made to move without whips. That which can be help in hunting. Autumnal work, mean or rough work, and training to respond the signals are the first step for the above training. Rogue elephants can be trained only in one way. The only means to keep them under control is punishment, and only in the way one way. It has a specious aversion to work, its obstinance and perverse nature, unsteady, willful, and infatuated temper under the influence of rut. The form of feeders and other necessary means to keep them under control shall be obtained from a doctor of elephant. Necklaces such as Vijayanti and Shura Pramala and litter and housing are the ornamentals of elephant. Elephant doctors, trainers, expert riders, as well as those who groom them, those who prepare their food, and those who procure glass for them, those who tether them to the post, and those who sweep elephant stables, and those who keep watch in the stables at night are some of the person that have to attend the need of elephant. Elephants doctor, watchmen, sweepers, crook, and others shall receive from a storehouse one prastha of cooked rice, a handful of oil, 2 land of 2 pallats, and of the salt. Excepting the doctors, others shall also receive 10 pallats of flesh. Elephant's doctor shall apply necessary medicines to elephant which while making a journey happen to suffer from disease, overwork, rut, or an old age, accumulation of dirt in stables, failure to supply grass, causing an elephant to lie down on hard and unprepared ground, and strickling on vital parts of the body, permissions and of strangers to ride over it. Ultimately, riding leading to water through impassable places and allowing it to enter through thick forest are offences punishable. So, with fines, such fines shall be deducted from the nations and wages due to the offenders. During the period of Chaturmasya, the month of July, August, September, and October, at the time when 2 seasons met, waiving the length light shall be performed thrice. Also, new moon and full moon days, commanders shall perform sacrifices to bhutas for the safety of elephants, leaving as much as equal to the twice of the circumference of the tusk near its root. The rest of the tusk shall be cut off once 2.5 years in the case of elephants born in the countries irrigated by river Nadija, and once in 5 years in the case of mountain elephants. Thus, end of chapter 33. Training of elephant. Chapter 33. The superintendent of carriers, the superintendent of infantry, and the duty of commander in chief. The functioning of superintendent of horses will explain those the superintendent of carriers. The superintendent of carriers shall intend to construction of carriers. The best carriers shall measure 10 purushas in height, which is 120 angulars, and 12 purushas in width. After this model, the more carriers with width decreasing by 1 purusha successively down to the chariot of 6 purushas in the width shall constructed. He shall also construct chariots of gods, festal chariots, Pushuyartha, battle chariots, Sangramika, traveling chariots, Pariyanika, chariots used in assailing enemies' strongholds, Parapura Bhyanika, and training chariots. He shall also examine the efficiency in the training of the troops, in shooting arrows, in hurling clubs and cudgels, in wearing mail armor, in equipment, and in charioting. charioteering, in fighting seated on a chariot, and in controlling chariot horses. He shall also attend an account of provision and the wages paid to those who are either permanently or temporarily employed. To prepare chariots and other things also he shall take steps to maintain the employed contented and happy to advocate reward. Yogya Rakshukunatham and ascertain the distance of roads. The same rule shall apply to the superintendent of infantry. He shall be thoroughly familiar with the nature of fighting in low grounds or open battles, of fraudulent attack, fighting under the cover and entrenchment, or from heights, and from fighting day and night, beside the drill necessary for such warfare. He shall also know the fitness and unfitness of the troops on emergent occasion, with an eye to the position which the entire army trained in the skill handful handling of all kinds of weapons, and in leading elephants, horses, chariots have occupied to the emergent call for which they ought to be ready. In commander in chief shall be so capable as to order either advance or retreat. He shall also know what kind of ground is more advantageous to his own army, what time is more favorable, and what the strength of the enemy is, how to sow dissension in an army's united mind, how to collect his own scattered forces, how to scatter compact body of an enemy's army, how to assail a fortress, when to make a general advice, being ever mindful to the discipline which his army has to maintain, not merely in camping marching but in thick battle. He shall designate the regiments by the time of trumpet, boards and banners or flags. Thus, end of chapter 33, Superintendent of Carriers, and starting of chapter 34, the Superintendent of Passports. The superintendent of passports shall issue the passes at the rate of masha per pass. However, whoever is provided with a pass shall be liberty to enter into or go out of the country. Whoever, being a native of country, enters into or goes out of the country without the pass shall be fined 12 panas. He shall be punished with the first amercement for producing the false pass. A foreigner guilty for the same offence shall be punished with a higher amercement. The superintendent of pasture lands shall examine passes. Pasture grounds shall be opened between any two dangerous place. Valleys shall be cleared from the fear of thieves, elephants, and other beasts. In barren tracts of country, there shall be constructed not only tanks, building for shelters and wells, but also flower gardens and fruit gardens. Hunter with their hounds shall reconnoiter forest at the approach of thieves and enemies. They shall so hide themselves by ascending trees or mountains so as to escape their thieves and blow conch shells on bent drums. As to movement of enemies or wild tribes, they may send information by flying the pigeons of a royal household with passes, mudra, or causing fire and smoke in successive distance. It shall be his duty to protect timber and elephant forest, to keep roads in good repair, to arrest thieves, to secure the safety of mercantile traffic, to protect cows and conduct a transition of people. Thus, end of chapter 34, the superintendent of passport, and starting of the chapter 35, the duty of revenue collectors. Having divided the kingdom Janpada into 4 districts and having the subdivided village Grama as the first and middle and lowest rank, he shall bring them under one or another of the following villages: village that are exempted from taxation, Pariharaka, those supply soldiers, Ayodhya, those that pay their taxes in the form of grains, cattle, gold, Hirayana, and raw material Kupya, and those the supply free laborer Vishti and dairy produce in lieu taxes Karapatrika. It is the duty of Gopa, village accountant, to attend the accounts of 5 or 10 villages as ordered by the Collector General. By setting up boundaries to villages, by numbering pilots to grounds as cultivated and uncultivated plains, wetland gardens, vegetable gardens, fences, forest, temples of God, irrigation works, cementation, ground feeding houses, place where water is supplied to travelers, places to pilgrimage, pasture grounds, and roads, and thereby fixing the boundaries of various villages of fields of forest of roads. He shall register gifts, sells, and charities, and remention of taxes regarding fields. Also, having numbered the houses as tax paying and or non tax paying, he shall not only register the total number of inhabitants of all the forecast in each village, but also keep an account of an exact number of cultivators, cowherd, merchants, artisans, laborers, slaves, be paid, and a quadruped animal, fixing at the same time the amount of gold, free labor, and toll and fines that can be collected from it each house. He shall also keep an account to the number of young and old men that reside in the each house, their history, charitra, occupation, ajiva, income, aye, and expenditure, vyaya. Likewise, Sthanik different officers shall attend the accounts of 1/4 of the kingdom in those places which are under the jurisdiction of Gopa and Sthanika. Commissioners specially deputed to the Collector General shall not only inspect the work done and means employed by the village and the district officer, but also collect the special religious tax known as Bali. Spies under the disuse of householders, Graha Patrika cultivators who shall be deputed by the Collector General for Sponginia shall ascertain the validity of accounts of village and district officers regarding the fields and houses of village in the area of what and output to produce the regarding fields and a right to ownership remains the emissions and the taxes of regarded house and the caste and the professions regarding families. They shall also ascertain the total number of men and beasts as well as the amount of income and expenditure each family. Likewise, spies under the guise of merchants shall ascertain the quantity and the price of the royal merchandise such as minerals or products of gardens, forest and fields or manufactured articles. As regards foreign merchandise of superior or inferior quality arriving thither by land or by water, they shall ascertain the amount of toll, roadesses, concesses, militaries, and for the accommodation for their merchandise in warehouse. In places where altars are situated or four roads meet in ancient ruins, in the vicinity of tanks, rivers, bathing places, in places of pilgrimages, hermitages, and desert tracts, mountains, and thick grown forest spies under the guise of old and notorious thieves with their different student bands shall ascertain the cause of arrival and departure and halt the thieves, enemies, and person of the undue bravery. The Collector General shall thus energetically attend to the affairs of the kingdoms, also his subordinates constituting his various establishment of Espongia Sponage shall, along with their colleagues and followers, attend to their duties likewise. Thus, end of chapter 35, the duty of revenue collector, and starting of chapter 36, the duty of the city superintendent. Like the collector general, the officer in charge of the capital city Nagarka shall look at the affairs of the capital. The Gopa shall keep the accounts of 10 households, 20 households, and 40 households. He shall not only know the caste, gotra, the name, occupation, or the both name and the woman in the household, but also ascertain the income expenditure. Likewise, the officer known as Thanika shall attend the accounts of the four quarters of the capital. Managers of charitable institutions shall send information to Gopa or Sthanika as to any heretics Pashanda and traveler arriving to reside therein. They shall allow ascetics, men learned in the Vedas to reside the such places only when those persons are known to be reliable character. Artisans and other handicraftsmen may, on their own responsibility, allow others to their own profession to residue where they carry on their own work in their own house. Similarly, merchants may, on their work own responsibility, allow other merchants to residue where they themselves carry on their works. Winters and they winters shall make a report of spendthrifts and foolhardy persons who engage themselves in risky undoing. Any physician who undertakes the treat in a secret of patient suffering from the unclear and excess of unwholesome food or drink, as well as the master of the house wherein such treatment is attempted, shall be innocently only when they are the physician and the master of the house make a report of the same to either Gopa or Sthanika, otherwise both of them shall be equally guilty. Master of houses shall make a report of the strangers arriving at or departing from their houses. Otherwise, they shall be guilty in the offense committed during the night. Spies also make a search of a suspicious person in an interior or deserted house, in the workshop or the houses of veteriner, sailor, and as a cooked rice and flesh, in gambling house and in the abode of heretics. Kindling of fire shall be prohibited during the two middlemost parts of daytime, divided into four equal parts during the summer. The fine of eighth of a panna shall be imposed for kindling fire at such a time. Masters of houses may carry on cooking operations outside their houses. If a house owner is not found to have ready with him 5 water pots and a kumbha, drona, ladder, axe, and winnowing basket, a hook, pincer, and a leather bag, shall be fined 1/4 of a panna. Whoever throws inside the city of a carcass of animals such as car, cow, dog, cat, mangoes, and snake shall be fined 3 panas. The intervals between 6 nalikas after the fall of night and 6 nalikas before the dawn shall be period when the trumpet shall be sounded prohibiting the movement of the people. The trumpet having been sounded, whoever moves the vicinity of royal buildings during the first and the last yama 3 hours 3 hours of the period shall be punished with a fine of 1 pana. Whoever is arrested in the suspicious places or as a perpetrator of the criminal act shall be examined. When a watchman has carnal connection with slave woman, he shall be punished with in first amercement, with a free woman middlemost amercement, with a woman arrested for ultimately movement the highest amercement, and the woman of high birth kulustri he shall to put on the death. He shall make a daily inception and reservoir of water, of roads, and a hidden passage for going out to the city, fourth walls, and other defensive works. He shall also keep in a safe custody of whatever things he come across as lost, forgotten, and left behind on the day. Once in a day or once in the 5 nights, jail may be emptied of prisoners in consolidation of work they have done, or by weeping inflicted upon them, or of an inadequate ransom paid by them is gold. Whenever a new country is conquered, when an higher a parent is installed on the throne or when a prince is born to the king, prisoners are usually set free. Thus, end of chapter 36 and the duty of city superintendent in book 2nd, the duties of government superintendents of the Arthashastra by Kautilya, and end of the 57th chapter from the beginning. With this, the end of second book, the duties of government superintendent of the Arthashastra by Kautilya. The next book will be third part of concerning Arthashastra by Kautilya, which is third book name concerning laws, in which we are going to see the laws which are concerning in this and the taxes system and all things relied on this. So stay tuned and bye.